What's up, everybody? Welcome to Solana Weekly. This is your host, Thomas, and I want to thank you for joining in. Let's take a dive into the latest trends, use cases, and people behind the incredible growth of the Solana ecosystem. None of this is financial advice, but I'm hoping that all of this is alpha. Now let's get to the show. I would like to give a warm welcome to Swerver to the pod, who is running WEN. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Excited. Thanks for bringing me on here.
Yeah, I'm super excited to hear about everything that you've been up to at WEN. I know you're an OG in the space, and I know they started out with ovals. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, correct. Yeah, that was my first time like really getting into something and building it out, and having a ton of fun in it. And the Ovals community, obviously, amazing community out there. So it's so fun to have that start and watch that grow over time as well.
Yeah, and that was early, right? Was that 2021 when you guys were starting that, or 2022?
Yeah, so we started development of that in like 2022, very, very early on.
Uh-huh.
Built out the platform for like 6 months or so, and then started to actually start the Twitter and start releasing things. We actually built like a full-on marketplace, AMM, and all that stuff before like we even launched our Twitter. So it's kind of fun to get all that out there, and then yeah, went ahead and grew out the Twitter, started doing a lot of teasers, started doing some marketing and kind of growing that, which led into like a crazy, crazy whitelist phase and really fun NFT time. And
Oh
that was
yeah.
that was back when NFTs. Not that NFTs aren't exciting. I still love NFTs. Like they are where I grew up in, and that was my first initial fun craziness in Solana, Ethereum, wherever. But that was back when it was absolutely crazy. Like everybody was getting so excited. Everybody was hyped up for mint days. It was so fun. So yeah,
It was
that was a crazy period.
Yeah, it was a different time. Like if you take like the excitement that we have for meme coins, maybe not now, maybe like 3 weeks ago, like that type of level of excitement. Like everyone on Solana was was in NFTs. They were in whatever community they aligned with the most, and everybody was minting NFTs. It wasn't a meme coin launch. It wasn't a pump fund launch. It was like, all right, what NFTs are coming up next? And it was a pretty good time, right?
Oh, I loved it. Like I still tell like a couple of the people that like are still newer into crypto that didn't really get to experience that. Like I was telling them that you'll never experience something like that where like all of you and all of your friends that you chat with online, in crypto specifically, are all coming together for this one event, and it's so fun because maybe you have one whitelist, or maybe even you have a couple whitelists, or you can get multiple of them, and it's just so fun to reveal it and do that. And it feels like that was so fun because it was so early with like people not even knowing much about the space, right? Like the
Yeah.
bar for NFTs was so low where people didn't even know like, oh, like okay, well now things are progressing where like, hey, what's the utility, or like things people started to progress like we need a roadmap, and like it was kind of fun to watch that progression come from like nothingness. It's just a picture online to like, okay, now teams are building, there's a roadmap, what's the utility, sort of a thing like that.
Yeah.
Um, and it was kind of fun to see that all go throughout. But yeah, I definitely miss the crazy, like I would have it on my calendars, like, okay, this
Oh
mint's
yeah.
happening this day, then this mint, then this. And it was like just a time I feel like where the industry was still so new. Not that it's not, it's just still new, right? We still had this crazy meme coin mania going on currently, more or less. But it's so fun to kind of think back on what the NFT sort of craze was, and maybe that does kind of spark back, right? I guess I'd love to see something like that happen. So interested to watch that whole NFT landscape develop too over the next few years here too.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I yearn for those days to come back when it's like you're in like a Discord chat server and you're minting with everybody else, and it's like, all right, what did you get? What did I get? No, you got a better one than me. That was pretty fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I used to be like, I actually started trading like back in Ethereum time, like during like Bored Ape Yacht Club. I actually had a Bored Ape and
oh, did
everything
you?
super early on. Yeah, so I started back in the Ethereum days before it even more or less progressed into Solana,
Yeah.
and that was even crazier because like now I feel like what people describe as like the trenches, which is like all these Telegram group chats and all these sort of meme coin like trenchers, if you want to call them, or degenerates, is all in the trenches in the meme coin world, was like all these Discord servers in the NFT world. Like it was just a whole different level of it, and it was, yeah, that was really really fun, and that was honestly like my first time really making money too in the NFT space. So like when
Yeah.
this big mint came out, I was like, whoa, like this is like actually real money. Like as much as I have fun like revealing these NFTs and talking about them or repping the PFP, like it's really just fun to see like, oh, this is actually like a financial gain on top of just having fun with it. So yeah, that
Yeah.
was super fun time.
Yeah, and it was more longer term too, right? Like you join a community and it was like for me it was like I always wanted a Solana monkey business. And it took
Yeah.
me like I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 months of like trading, of doing anything I could to get up to it. And it was like I finally joined and it was like, oh, this is the best. You get like the welcome on, like
Mhm.
people were like DMing me on Twitter, congratulations, I love that one. And I feel like you'd like check in with your community every morning, give like a couple GMs, and it was, I don't know, it was great.
Yeah, no, it really was, and not that it isn't anymore. I think it's
Yeah,
still very prevalent, like a lot of these NFT communities. But yeah, I remember too, like going back and watching people join it, right? And like it would be so fun to like watch everybody come in and join these communities, right? And that was when like I feel like everybody was like so diehard in Discord and everything was like so focused on on NFTs, where it was like the only thing. Like when you thought of Solana, you almost thought of NFTs at one
yeah,
point, right? Like that was like there was DeFi, there was different things, but it was like NFTs were such a huge part of Solana. Where now I feel like that has almost gotten away, right? Where NFTs are just kind of a small subsector of what Solana is as a whole now, which I feel like is probably good, right? Like that Solana is focused more on like scaling and actually having a really big usage besides just like digital collectibles. But I do think that was such an important baby step going forward for Solana too. And like I said, I do think NFTs will definitely have some light more or less shined through them again. So be excited to see kind of when something like that could return as well.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, they also played a pretty big part in the beginning of testing the network, right? You had a big mint, and what would happen during that mint, Solana might slow down or even go down a little bit. Solana Art would go down. Magic Eden would go down, right? Like
Yeah.
every single protocol that you'd interact with during these mints, like couldn't keep up with the demand, right? So this was like the start of like, all right, we need to increase this. This is what brought like the hotspots, or like the demand hotspots. So if you're trying to mint, right, that specific contract is going to get a little bit more expensive and not throw off the rest of the network, right? If you don't want like you don't want the network unusable because of NFT mints, which was the case, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, there was lots of times where mint day would come and you'd be like, okay, well this isn't working. I guess I'm gonna check back here in an
Yeah,
hour or 2 hours, or just sit there and spam relentlessly on 15 tabs, and do all that too. But no, I truly do think NFTs were like really pivotal and just again like the formation and kind of the ground set for Solana, because also just such a big part of I think where Solana really gained a lot of strength was like the community side of it,
yeah,
because when you were looking at a lot of these other L1s or even L2s out there, it was like they didn't have that same sense of community that Solana had, where I think that's a lot of people grew to. And I think NFTs were a big part of that, where like that was like the real big chain, besides, Ethereum, which was like the king, right? Still, I guess is if you can clarify it like that, but it's sort of like people saw that special thing about Solana, right? And you almost couldn't compete it, whether it was like on the timeline, whether you had like Mert out there or you had like Who like defending, right, or going out there. It was like Solana had something about it that other chains didn't have, right? And I still think regardless of if Solana like is getting beat up a little bit here recently, like I still think Solana like is the king, right, when it comes to
yeah,
like being able to handle all these things. Like I think a really interesting part about this is like as much as Solana receives hate sometimes or gets beat up or gets like tokened as like the meme chain or something like that. I think it's so much more than that, because like if you think about it, it's really the only chain that's been tested this far that can actually handle it all, right? So
yeah,
when time comes, it really should be the chain because it's the one that can handle it when you need to really push it that hard. Whereas if you throw this on other chains, they might just break down, right? No other chains have really been thoroughly tested
yeah.
as heavily. So I think that's why Solana really always will have a little special part in my heart.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, and I mean, all the communities were tested, right? Like we were all in NFT communities, and then FTX crashed, and everything was worth zero, right? Not zero, but like everybody was down, a ton. But we were still having a ton of fun. Like Solana was like $8, $10, and like there was still a little bit of like an NFT bull market. Like
Yeah.
we were still trading JPEGs like
Yeah.
throughout that whole period, and it was a lot of fun still, right? Like the communities were still there, and it's like I think that kind of like shared trauma experience is something that you can't like build on a new platform,
Yeah.
right? Like one of the things that I've been watching is like the release of Monad, and it's like you can see that I don't hear about the technical like side of Monad that much. What I see is they're trying to build the community. Like they're trying to incentivize people to do all this. Like it kind of feels pretty fake because it's like mostly people like farming to get tokens and VCs with like a good allocation, hoping for, the token to go up. But like that, what their focus on is like they saw what Solana was able to do with the communities, and I mean it's like a pretty tight knit community. Like even though like we all like will have issues with like I don't like D gods or something along those lines. Like there's still kind of like different sections, but it's like we're all together on Solana. Like we went through like a gnarly thing. We all came out of it, and now it's like we're way stronger because of that, and it's the strongest community in crypto, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think it's interesting you bring up like something like Monad as well because, like, I'm not working behind the team, right? I've only met like a few members of the team, but like, you can probably sell it. They're taking a lot of what Solana has done and just sort of trying to replicate it, right?
Yeah.
And in their words, probably make it better, right? But yeah, I feel like Solana has really laid that base case for like what another L1 could do, right? And I think it's really interesting. Like, do we need extra L1s? Do we need all these certain things, right? Because I think a lot of people are just trying to make the greatest, make the best out there. But yeah, I think like overall, it is really hard to replicate what Solana has built. Like it's years and years of building to get to that point. And sometimes it just doesn't come natural, right? I think we've seen a lot of other L1s try to do it, or other blockchains spin up trying to do it, and they're all successful in different ways. But I think Solana has kind of reigned as that king, right? And I feel like
Yeah.
I'm talking like I'm such a Solana max. I kind of am, right? But
Yeah.
but no, it's what I've like really come accustomed to, right? After like coming from Ethereum, I was 100% like Ethereum maxi when I first came into thing because I was like, this is where all the money is. This is the biggest chain to trade things and do whatever.
Mhm.
But I feel like it took me like not even like 3 days, maybe like a week of doing Solana, and I was like, yeah, like I'm sold. Like this is just anything from like Phantom to Jupiter to like just trading NFTs on like Solana or Magic, and I was like, this is the place to be, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah, 100%. I mean, that's what got me onto Solana too. It's like I was watching DeFi summer. I was watching NFTs go crazy on ETH, and it was like I don't want to pay $100 for a transaction. Like I was sidelined, and finally I did buy an NFT on ETH, and it was like I paid. It was like over $100 for the transaction to buy, and the NFT was worth less than $100. And I was like, what am I even doing here?
yeah,
So then
yeah,
I tested it out, and I mean on it was caught like with how congested ETH was, like it was, I don't know, it was like over $10 just to send it an NFT from one wallet to another. I was like, I don't know, like I was pretty price conscious. Like my ETH portfolio was like $1,000 or something like that. So to watch this all happen, I was like, man, I'm gonna be broke in no time if I keep this going.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and then
That
I
was
think I think it was like the geckos. They had their mint, and that was my first mint, and I was like, wow, this makes sense. This is awesome. I can do whatever I want on this chain. It's so easy to use. Um, so that's kind of what hooked me, and yeah, been hooked ever since.
yeah, yeah. I think like going back to like I remember me like being in a Discord with like all of my like I feel like pretty well advanced like NFT traders, if you want to say that,
Yeah.
on the ETH days, like knowing all the big ETH mints coming up, really like active on that side of things, and like had every single whitelist. So like then these guys were making like a lot of money, right? Like
Oh
if
yeah,
you were on
big
every
money.
yeah, if you were on every single whitelist and having multiple allocations, like you were making a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
And I remember me talking to these guys, about Solana, and I was like, you guys, like, test it out. Like, I'm gonna get some and like try it all out and get into this ecosystem, whatever. And they're like, dude, like, no, like Ethereum is like where it's at. Like, don't mess around with like that small stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then I remember like really getting into it, and then like showing them a few wins in Solana, and they were like, okay, like it's still like whatever. And then it took them a long time, and by that time, right, I had like accumulated a lot of soul, and I was telling them like, you guys are gonna miss the train. And then then when like I remember like the OK Bears time happened, or like there was a kind of that move from like people were like, oh, maybe we should take Solana seriously.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of around like that OK Bears time. And then when D God started to go crazy too, they were like, what do we need to do? How do we get into this chain? Like, well,
Yeah.
like, tell me everything. And I was like, nah, now you guys are coming around, right?
Yeah, the people don't realize like the OK Bears. I don't even know what the mint was, like 1 or 2 SOL, and it went to 100 SOL per bear, like
Yeah.
on one day, right?
Yeah.
Like so that was there's probably like a 10,000 of them, and anybody that minted almost got 100x, right?
Yeah.
Or, it was something like that where it was like it was a considerable amount of money
Yeah.
very quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember like vividly minting. I got two of them, and I remember like watching it go to like 40 soul like really fast, and I was like, what do I was like this is like a lot of money, right? Like,
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm gonna like just go ahead here and like sell one of these just to lock my profit. And then I remember like having so much fun riding this one thing that I bought for just nonstop. It just kept going and kept going and kept going. It was like 250 soul or whatever, and I was like, this is what life is, I guess. Like, this is
yeah, yeah.
things are crazy, right? Yeah, and that was such a fun time. It's such a shame now. I feel like something like OK Bears, right, gets a lot of hate, right, and they go out there, but at the end of the day, right, they're just trying to create something cool and have fun with it. So, but yeah, it was just a crazy time period back then. So that was honestly one of my favorite mints too.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of like we'll see the NFT communities that are still around and have still been like trying to do whatever they can. I feel like those are the ones that are going to come back. So
Oh yeah.
we'll see. I still hope for an NFT season. Will we get it? I don't know. Probably. I mean, there's a lot of attention to it, and there's also just like really good infrastructure built around NFTs on Solana.
Mhm.
Like Tensor is an amazing platform. You can
Oh
do
yeah.
so much on it.
Oh yeah, there's so much built around NFTs, and I think that is why also Solana sparked so hard around NFTs when it did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to see NFT season come back. Like if we could create an ecosystem where everybody could get hyped on a mint again,
Oh yeah.
that would just be like something special again to see that. Because it's been a while, right?
Oh yeah.
Since we've really had like a big NFT mint. I feel like even in Ethereum, right? Or I mean, I don't follow Ethereum NFTs closely, but it feels like that. Like even in Ethereum, there hasn't really been anything like massive where everybody is on the timeline talking about a big mint gonna go down, right?
Yeah.
Now I feel like it's just like a big airdrop or like a meme or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would
I'm on board for the next big mint. You got to let me know.
okay. Once I figure it out, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I would love to watch that come true.
Sounds good. Well, and to kind of like speak to the communities in NFTs, right? Like they were the strongest, and what we saw with Bonk and with WEN was you guys like before Pump Fund, the way that a lot of coins would work is you would actually airdrop them to the strongest communities,
Hmm.
right? So that's what WEN actually did. I think it was 70% of the entire stock of tokens was
Yeah.
airdropped out, right?
Yeah. So we ended up airdropping 70% of the token, which is quite a lot, right? Like that's nearly the whole token out to just the community, which is awesome, right? Because yeah, we did it to people like all the way from like Degen Apes, SMBs, Tensorians, Ovols. We did it to the Saga holders, which is really cool because we did like kind of like the strong community
Yeah.
to those people, as well as we just did it to like a ton of just Jupiter like power users, right? People who are just using like probably the most used protocol actually at the time was right the most used protocol on Solana to then just get an airdrop and reward people. And what was really cool about WEN and like why I think it was a really great way to distribute these tokens is that it was the same exact amount to every single person out there, right? So it was something of like 643,000 tokens were then airdropped to everybody, right? And it was the same exact amount. Like there wasn't one person, like whether that be on the team or an insider or a whale or anything, right? Like there was no influencers involved. Like I think that was really cool. Just 100% organic. Like still
Yeah.
to this day, it's like technically the most fairest airdrop ever done, right? Nobody's done an airdrop of that scale. That's all exactly the same
Yeah.
amount to everybody. So it's been really cool. I think that's why like WEN can really sit as like sort of like a coin for the people, right? Like it was
Yeah.
completely done for free. There was no real like meaning to like grift behind it or anything. It was literally just given out to the community just as a free airdrop, which I think is like a really cool mission that like a lot of people could really get behind. And like you were kind of mentioning too, Bonk. I think Bonk is like another amazing example of just like rewarding the community and just giving out just for fun, right? And just to like kind of give back, which I think is such a cool thing. I mean, there's nothing better than like just all of a sudden waking up and you have like, oh, like hey, like I have like multiple WEN allocations. Like now I
Yeah.
just got like free money, or a big Bonk allocation. I got a bunch of free money. Like there's just nothing. There's nothing like wrong with that, which is why it's so sad. Like sometimes like seeing like people like Bonk or different teams like that get hate or something out there because
Yeah.
like they're just doing this right. They had a ton of fun with it, right? And they're actually trying to really build something cool with it, right? That spawned out of like this free airdrop. So I think it's just like one of the coolest ways to start and reward people out there, right? So
100%. And it's different. It's completely different. Like the landscape of when you guys actually dropped it, like there weren't that many tokens,
oh
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
the tokens that were on Solana, especially early, weren't given out like this at all. Like this was brand new to Solana, right? Like it was bonk. And you were you guys 2022 when you actually did
Uh,
that airdrop? Was that 2023?
2020. It was 2023. It was
2023.
2023. So it was, or actually, it was the WEN airdrop was actually the start of 2024. Actually,
Oh, was it?
so yeah, it was the first month of 2024, and yeah, it was really cool because now that seems like that just happened, but that's been over a year now. It's like over a year
Crypto
and a month.
time doesn't make sense, right? Doesn't add up.
Does not add up. Yeah, it feels like that just happened, but yeah, time definitely flies.
Yeah, and I mean, this was bear market time. I mean, when 2024, we were kind of coming out of the bear market in the beginning of 2024. So but there wasn't any sort of token mania at
Yeah,
all,
yeah, no, there was
right? Like this was completely novel. So it was like Bonk launched, you guys launched, and then the best part about this is like when I think about when I always just think about like, all right, it's a cute cat token, it's a meme coin, but it's also kind of followed alongside, what Bonk has done, where you guys are building in the ecosystem. This is like a full project that you guys are doing. It's not just drop tokens and leave type situation. There's like a lot more to it.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah, yeah. I think that's like one of the most like interesting aspects of something like WEN too, because it really came together where like launched it in like January 2024. And it was just myself and Meow, right, founder of Jupiter, coming together because we were like I was helping. I was pretty close with Meow. We were leading up to the Jupiter launch, and that was obviously a huge thing. Everybody on Solana was or all crypto really was getting excited for the Jupiter launch. So we came together and we were like, we need to have like a way to test this, and like what better way to test this huge drop than do an airdrop to a million plus people and really test this for real. So yeah, I think it was like between us like deliberating and ideating out when it was like probably like 2.5 or 3 weeks before we just launched it. So it was kind of fun because it was kind of just like fresh, but we didn't want to just like set out a meme coin just to do it for fun, right? We
Yeah.
wanted to like actually have it be like a little bit more of like substance behind it. It was like the perfect opportunity to bring forward something actually cool into the space versus just like launch a test coin and then like abandon it, right? I think
Yeah.
for this it was kind of cool to actually bring this to life. So yeah, that was really fun. And then after it's myself, Meow, Jupiter devs, and some Ovol people coming together to launch this, it really kind of progressed into something like so much bigger, right? Where we're like, let's build like a whole designated like WEN team, right? Like and let's make it like a really legit thing. So then, really started adding people to the team, right? And having a ton of contributors come behind WEN, which is really cool because then we're able to do a lot of really fun things and make something big with WEN, right?
Yeah.
And now like today, right, there's like an actual legit whole team behind WEN, right? Like completely different from like how WEN started. It's like it's a legit whole group of people who are like extremely excited about it and extremely excited about the future of the token, right? And even if like today, right, obviously memes are like kind of like getting wrecked for the past 3 months, right? It's been like a downward bleed.
Yeah.
I think something like WEN, it's really exciting because like something of this we can really focus on like building even like when stuff is down, right? Like thinking about the long term vision and long term mission for something like this, which is really cool because I think a lot of teams maybe get like super down bad, or a lot of teams are like very scared when price goes low or the market gets choppy. But like for something like WEN, there's really no worries, right? It's like just focused on building the long term mission for this. So yeah, it's exciting, and that's why like I get excited around some of these things because obviously like all the people contributing WEN are just awesome people, like super big brain, super knowledgeable in this space. So it's been awesome to kind of watch that all progress.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you guys have been around building in the space for now, almost, over a year?
Yeah.
And it's like you guys have been here building, have a lot going on. So it's like what I think the way everything's gonna kind of slow down on the meme coin front and come back to teams and like realize like, okay, people are actually building behind some of these.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what, I don't know, caught my eye. And I was like, all right, this is cool. We need to figure out more.
Yeah, yeah, and I like, I chat like with a lot of the guys like who are like contributing to WEN or like just people in the space too. Like, I think after everything kind of goes crazy, similar to how it happened in the NFT landscape, where like a bunch of things were just getting launched, right? And some of like the OG sort of quality things started to like fade out, right? Or like
Yeah.
weren't at the top of the list anymore. And I think it's going to be the exact same thing with meme coins. Like I think we're even starting to see Pump.Fun really kind of waver down a little bit, or
Yeah.
just lately, right? I don't know how much that's going to impact it, but
The last
it
couple of
seems like
days, I think I saw
yeah,
that same graph that you did, but the last couple of days it's down, over 50, 60%, I think, right?
yeah, and I think it's going
Or
to be the
more.
exact same thing. Like it's gonna progress away from like people trying to just make a quick buck or trying to just launch a bunch of stuff and rug a bunch of people to be like, oh wait, like no, let's actually go back to the people who are building actual things and actual products that people want, right? And not just focused on trying to rug people or trying to get these new things. So I think there's going to be a huge pivot to quality, like rotation back to
Yeah.
like OG projects and people who are still building and who actually are excited about the future of the project. So yeah, that's why I'm calling it. Like I think that's going to be like a big switchback because
Yeah.
you can only do that for so long. You can only rug people for so long. You can only like launch a bunch of random coins forever before people start to get so saturated with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for that time to come. I feel like it's not going to be too far out, and I think it's going to be a big rotation back.
Yeah. I think the exact same thing. And I want to hear a little bit more about what you guys are building at WEN. So one of the products that you guys have built out is the WNS NFT standard. And I'm familiar with this because the Quecks have migrated over to the WNS standard. And they kind of came in and kind of like fixed a pretty big problem that the Quecks had because they never updated to the programmable NFT like Metaplex
Yeah.
standard.
Mhm.
So the royalties were all optional. So anytime anybody would buy NFTs or it would pump a little bit, all the bots, it was like one of the few like collections that were very profitable for bots to go after because they didn't have to
Mhm.
pay any of the royalties.
Yeah.
So you would watch the floor price after like somebody would buy a bunch of quecks and you'd watch the floor price just get eaten by bots down, just like go eat through all the bids. So that was not good. But then you guys came in and it's supposedly it's like a really lightweight NFT protocol. Is that right? You want to just kind of tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, of course. Um, yeah, so it's all built on the Token 2022 standard. So it makes it extremely composable and just super easily embedded throughout the entire Solana ecosystem without having to sort of like recreate everything and like rebuild everything from the ground up, which is really really awesome. And yeah, it was really fun to kind of watch that come to life too, because on top of testing this meme coin launch with WEN, how we tested it before the Jupiter launch, which I think not a lot of people even know, but like the actual WEN token is actually an NFT that is split and fractionalized into 1 trillion pieces. So it's
Yeah,
actually,
wait. It's a poem, right?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
that what it is? I was reading through it. I was like, there's no way. How did I not know that? That's
yeah.
awesome.
So it's Meow's poem that he threw together. So it's kind of fun because it's took this this poem that Meow put together, and we're like, why don't we actually like go through like create a new NFT standard? Because I know Meow himself, he was like really thinking that there could be another alternative to like Metaplex, and we could have more freedom throughout the NFT landscape.
Hmm.
So then it came together, and we were like, yeah, let's take this poem you made, turn it into an NFT, like fractionalize it into 1 trillion pieces, and then make that the meme coin. So it was really cool to see that because I don't think a lot of people have really done that. I don't know if honestly any people has ever really
Yeah,
done
it's
that.
awesome.
So yeah, so what's cool about that then is like we were diving on this rabbit hole of like, yeah, we could create another um, NFT standard and have it be extremely easy built on Token 22 so that everybody can just adopt it super simply. And that was kind of after and kind of still with simmering around that whole NFT royalty situation when
Yeah,
it was hot on Solana.
yeah.
That was like the talk of the town. So yeah, then we came together. Like a lot of the Jupiter devs all came together building out this WNS protocol, and it was really cool because it was so like original and it was very much another alternative to like when there only being one solution, which was Metaplex out there, and that was really fun to watch that go ahead. And like the hardest part about building an NFT standard is like having it get integrated into different protocols. So like you have to
Yeah.
have Phantom adopt it, or otherwise nobody can see the NFT in your wallet or backpack
We
or
had that issue
yeah,
with the Quex. You would migrate it over to the new protocol, and then you couldn't see it for the
yep,
first, I don't know, month or so.
yep. So that's the hardest part, right? And then it was really cool to have like Phantom and all the people come together to
Yeah.
like support it all and be able to see all their see all the assets and actually have it come to life, which is really cool. And actually now with WEN, we've actually like almost had like WNS not more or less take a backseat, but like as NFTs have really cooled off, right? There hasn't been like a major like I want to say like desire for things like Metaplex or like WNS, right? As NFTs have really like kind of like stalled out, I want to say.
Yeah.
And within that meantime, right, we've really taken the approach to like, okay, like NFTs aren't that hot with like WNS, like, what else can we do to really bring this, WEN to the spotlight, right? And then, we've really dove down to this huge rabbit hole of like turning not just this random meme coin, but like taking WEN and like making it this extremely adorable cat that everybody can love, right? And now
Yeah.
we've, talked to like a ton of experts and like really gotten a huge grasp on like really building out a proper IP and a really proper brand through this whole ideal.
Hmm.
And that's why I'm really excited because we really haven't, talked about this too much or really haven't even explained much about this. But like, we're extremely excited to watch WEN turn in from just this Solana meme coin to like this real mainstream brand and really turn into something special because I feel like there's really something to that. Like when you even like go out and like we have this massive, huge plushie. It's actually hilarious. It's like 6 feet tall. It's huge. It's like as tall as myself.
Uh-huh.
This huge Wen plushie, and it's like super heavy. Like it is. It weighs a ton. It's really funny. Just like we were walking around Miami during Art Basel with it, and just like watching everybody's reaction. Just like talk about how like cute this cat is, and just like really starting to like build like the building blocks for like what could be a really proper IP.
Hmm.
So that's been really fun, and now we've actually gotten contact and going to be actually flying out and meeting up with a really big agency now in the early weeks of March to really like kickstart this um, WEN brand into a really real thing, right? So it's just really exciting, and I can't wait to like watch it progress from just this sort of like Solana meme coin, which I feel like everybody else just does, to like actually building like a real brand and like an actual real product and project like outside of that. So Should be exciting. I seriously can't wait for all this stuff to really come to life. It's just exciting to get to like help and contribute towards something as cool as this.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's a really recognizable, cute cat. So it's like,
Yeah.
who doesn't like that? But like,
Yeah.
when you build a brand around it, like, what does that mean? Like, are you gonna have like plushies that go out like Pudgy Penguin kind of style, or is it gonna be like clothing, or what is that?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so the whole idea around it really is to create this massive, what we're going to call like WEN world,
Okay.
where it's like all of the different pieces where it's going to be like an interactable game, right? And there is a huge merch line and there's a huge collectible line associated with it. And the real end goal is because there really hasn't been a uh, project in Web3 that's been based around like a viral cat, right? And like trying to build proper IP around the cat, right? And cats are obviously like the most viral internet animal, and like
Yeah.
everybody loves cats. Maybe some people don't, but it's one of the most popular animals in the world, right? So the big end goal with all this is to start creating a ton of like WEN collectibles and WEN products and big things, but make it accessible to every single like cat lover in the world, not just people who like the WEN brand, right? Make this accessible to every single cat lover in the world, right? And whether that be through like content or collectibles or digital experiences or games, wherever. The real end goal though is to just distribute this to like the masses of cat lovers in the whole world, because it is like I didn't know truly how big cats were until I really started to dive into this. Like I didn't realize how many people are obsessed with cats. Because even
You accidentally joined the cat community.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's really funny too is, back a few months after we launched, when we went through and we actually acquired the second largest cat account in the world, and I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
remember seeing something like that. So that was really cool because we were able to like get access to this huge account, which was really cool because like we now have access to this sort of large audience of cat lovers, which, like I said, way bigger than I thought it was. And now, about 2 months after that, we actually ended up acquiring the number one cat account in the world. So
Oh,
now,
really? So you own both one and two?
yeah, so we have one, which is really cool because it's not just like the biggest cat Twitter page. These are like the largest cat accounts in the entire world of like social media, which is really
Crazy.
cool because these get like upwards of like 18 billion impressions, 20 billion impressions a year, which is like
So wild.
way bigger than like any other crypto protocol or most any other like regular accounts. Like that's an insane amount of impressions that these get. So like, and we haven't really activated these at all besides like just like affiliating them with the regular one account. We haven't really done anything with them.
Mhm.
So what's really exciting about that too is as we continue to really build out the WEN brand, which I feel like we really have just done the initial building blocks. We really haven't even gotten into it yet, which is exciting because as we have this huge product line and as we have these things that everybody loves, we then can use these stores and really push a lot of content directly to a bunch of cat lovers, which I think a lot of people would like, die to get access to. So I think that's what's really cool and that's what's really fun because these stores are already like that. Like basically what it is these Twitters have like little stores attached to them. So
Mhm.
like you just like make a post on these accounts with like a random like cat toy, and they just sell tons and tons and tons of them. Right? It's kind of like I don't know if you've seen like TikTok marketing or like different like
Yeah.
marketing on these different social platforms. These products just sell like crazy. So it'd be really fun to be able to push a ton of WEN
Yeah.
and really like cycle through all that stuff back to these like original big cat lovers and cat audiences of people. So it's kind of a cool and kind of a unique position that I feel like we sit in right now. It's fun too because I feel like in the past, right, everybody just sort of knows WEN as like this test for the Jupiter Launchpad, and then there's a big airdrop, and then like things with like WNS and like other things. There's a lot of other things, cool, like amazing things like WEN has done. Like we have a really still hugely active like validator with like WEN sold and LST through Sanctum and everything, doing a
Mhm.
lot of cool initiatives like that, and did a huge plushie sellout. But I'm really excited for everybody to kind of see this new side of WEN where we can like really bring it mainstream and really start activating WEN on a real level. So it'll be really cool. And I think it's really awesome. There's so many like awesome experts, and there's so many awesome like support systems on Solana to help kind of power some of this stuff too. So just makes it all the better that it's like originally coming from Solana too.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like it's you guys aren't even like focused on the coin anymore. Or maybe you are, but it's like what you're actually doing is like the coin is enabling you to build like a worldwide brand that you can access to anybody, right? And you know, and if you do have the coin, which I do hold, you know, with full disclosure, then it's like, oh, awesome! Like there is really cool merch that, you know, it's not just like an oversized T-shirt that I put in my drawer, right? You know, it'll be like this is something that is, you know, high enough quality that I want to actually buy, and it's such good quality that people not in crypto are buying it, right?
Yeah, yeah, which is like a really cool balance of things as well because you know if you didn't have a crypto background and you just kind of launched let's something like WEN just you know as a brand you're like hey let's make it an awesome brand let's make it one of the biggest IPs and whatever I think it would actually be a much bigger struggle because with WEN right there's over 200,000 holders people that love it already and it kind of
Yeah,
gives that like big community behind it which kind of fuels it so it's really fun because the ideal scenario right with WEN is where we have a branch that is like fully dedicated to like you know working on the coin right getting all the exchange listings partnerships things like that to really help fuel the coin price and get that going and
yeah,
then the other side is all focused on building like this massive mainstream brand right and then we can combine both forces together to create this ultimate like crypto web3 mix combined with like this mainstream brand that can grow together so yeah, it's exciting, and I really like. I really think it's been a really fun thing that like sort of spawned out of nowhere, right? Like I said, just me and Meow came together. We're like, let's do this, right? Let's launch this coin, and now I feel like has kind of created a own life by itself, and it's just been really fun to watch that all kind of come to fruition. So yeah, it's exciting, and I know I keep saying I'm excited, but it's something that I really look forward to, and it's something that like it's a really cool opportunity to build in an industry like crypto too, where it's all so fresh and so new. So there's so much opportunity to expand to wherever you want to go.
yeah, definitely. And it seems like everybody in crypto or in all of my chats love when, right? Like it's not like I don't think I've ever heard any FUD about when. Like it like there's nothing to FUD. Cute cat coin that was like airdropped to over 1 million people, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just like it's a great story to go on top of like great branding and great IP as well.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what's kind of fun as well is like there's never been anything like malicious about WAN. There's no grift, right? It was literally like I said, no insider even got any tokens or anything. Like
Yeah.
it was literally just to like give back. So I think that's like one of the coolest things too. Like it should just be known as like a forever like history moment in Solana that we can just continue to build and make it as big as possible. So yeah, that is good because I think a lot of things out there also like came from like shady backgrounds or like there's
Yeah.
some weird moving pieces involved, which obviously can like throw a lot of red flags or kind of can be bad if that's what a project long term wants to build off of.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's tough for I think that people have a hard time like deciding what is a good project and what is not, right? Like if you're just comparing two coins on a screen, you're like looking at a chart of them that doesn't say anything about like what's going on, you know, who is the team behind it, you know,
Yeah.
how long have they been building, how long are they in the space? Is it just a pub fund that somebody pressed two buttons to click, right? There's so much, you know, there is so much that differentiates a lot of what's going on, and it's just hard to tell, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah, that is one of the things that is really tough. Even if you're like somebody who's just getting into the space right now, and you're like, okay, I like Bonk, right, for example, but you're like, oh, like, but like you don't even know like the like huge landscape that they've done over the past, you know, 2.5. I don't know how long they've been around, 2.5 years now, whatever. It's you know it's been a long time, right? So yeah, you don't really get that, and it's still tough. I don't know in crypto if there's like a big reliable source other than just like really diving deep and getting into like
Yeah.
all the details. Like it is kind of different because like you can go on like Wikipedia and go like see things, or just go ChatGPT something and go see like the background of like other things like Apple. Obviously, these things are tiny, hard to compare to something that massive, but like there really isn't anything like that now. I remember there being a few things pop up that were trying to create that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is tough to also know like what the background is of certain things and kind of see like what has it been till now.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be, yeah. It's hard to see how something like that would get made. But I know that there was one where it's like they were incentivizing people to leave like reviews or thoughts on different projects. But that's like the one area where it's like AI is terrible at, is like
Yeah.
looking into crypto projects, finding them, and like giving real information about it.
Hmm.
It's like it's just not there. I'm sure that there will be one, relatively soon, but it's something where it's like in order to fully understand a lot of these projects, like you might even have to like go into their GitHub, or really like dive deep into their Discord or something along those lines.
Oh yeah, yeah, and yeah, and I think like you're saying, I'm sure there will be something that sort of pops up and does get better as crypto grows, right? Too, it's still such a small niche industry. I always forget that, like as
Yeah.
I work in it every day, or as I'm watching the Bitcoin chart or whatever, I always realize like, wow, this is like not as big as I think it is, right? It definitely is getting more mainstream as like we have like a president launching a meme coin and things like that,
Yeah.
and kind of getting into that whole side of things, but it is still so niche. Like a lot of people don't invest in crypto. A lot of people just see it as a scam. A lot of people just see it as whatever, and that's why I still get so ecstatic to like work here every day, because it feels like we're just still early. As cliche as that sounds, or as stupid as it sounds, like it is still fun to like be building something. Even if that be like you're building AI, right? It's like a new-ish industry that like provides you with so much opportunity and to like build things, versus like things that have already been established for 20, 30 plus years. I think that's why crypto is just exciting in general.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the time perception and like the community size perception of crypto, it's hard to understand, right? I mean, you guys airdrop to 1 million people, which is a lot of people, but I mean, what is there, 8, 9 billion people in the world, right? So it
Yeah.
like on a global scale, it actually is not that big, and we are so early. And I think that we're pretty well positioned in Solana, with it being kind of like the place for users to actually use a blockchain. So I think that the teams that are building out good protocols and doing good things now, I mean, I think it's only going to pay off immensely in the future.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's why I think also I give so many credit to like everybody, right? Even if it's like all the different WEN contributors and people building a WEN, right? Like I give so much credit to all the people that have stuck through and are continuing to like build really awesome protocols and projects, because it's not easy, right? You have
No.
to deal with an industry where like you're watching it just crash over years, right? You're watching an industry where like if you're even, let's say Jupiter for example, and you're watching the entire chain crash, right? And you're like, this is my job, right? This is my business, and
Yeah.
I'm watching the entire thing it's built off of, like the industry just crash, or or the chain, right? So yeah, no, it can be a crazy, crazy industry, but at the same time, like it's what like gets me up every single day. It's just kind of fun to watch it all happen. As much as like there's an opportunity and it's a good business, like just fun to watch everything progress.
Yeah, yeah. I always like try to embrace the craziness, because I love it. Like I love how like everything's changing. There's a new meta every week. It's like, all right, I got to research this protocol. I got to look into that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like what really gets me going is like, all right, figuring out the people that are staying here, that are building cool projects. And that's like my favorite part of this podcast, is like I actually get to talk to the people that might not be the loudest people on Twitter, right? A lot of the people building the best protocols don't have 100,000 followers, and they're not tweeting out the latest ticker, right? So you don't see that on the timeline as much. But like what's going on behind the scenes on Solana, I think is amazing. There is like amazing builders and amazing teams doing amazing things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's why it's just that's just why I feel like I have said it a million times, but I just love Solana. Like
Yeah.
there's really, I swear there's nothing like it. And trust me, I have tried almost every L2, all the L1s, diehard Ethereum. starting out, and yeah, it's just nothing like Solana. So
Yeah.
that's where I hope everything just continues to progress. So it'd be just awesome to watch Solana just continue to, as much as it already has taken over, just watch it continue to just like be the standalone thing that people refer to.
Yeah, I always think that like the way it's going to end up eventually, like the tech will all be the same, right? Like eventually, maybe everyone will catch up with Solana and speed isn't going to be an issue
Yeah,
eventually. And then it's going to all come back to, okay, like where are the people, where are the users, where are the communities, where are the things that you actually want to do on chain? And
yeah,
it's like Solana has, 4 or 5 years of building this out, focusing on users, focusing on speed, allowing people to actually use the blockchain. So they
hmm,
have such a head start on all of that that even if any of these protocols match them in speed, like they are going to have a hard time getting like a diehard community
yeah,
of people that are just like focused on Solana.
yeah.
Um, and then on top of that, like they're doing, like Fire Dancer. So it's like nobody, like, I don't know. I feel like they're just taking like the biggest swings and they have the biggest community too. So it's awesome to be a part of.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's the place to be, and it's not easy to replicate too. Like that's one of the things. Like you can't just AI build like a community. You can't
Yeah.
just go out and just fake it all. It's all stemmed from like hard work and people all coming together. So I don't know if it can ever get replicated. I guess we'll see, right? We'll see if anything really does come and compete against
Yeah.
the law.
Yeah, and at least for me, like it kind of comes from the top too. Like I feel like Toli's like hilarious, but he
Hmm.
also is like he kind of like goes with it. Like he was deep in NFTs. Like he's still changing his profile picture to different NFTs. Like he's talking about the latest meme coins. Like he's using all the protocols and in with all of it. Where it's like he's relatable and like he's having fun, right? And I feel like everybody that's like kind of stems from the top where it's like that's kind of been the like like the core of Solana's like get users, like see user feedback, make it fast, and have some fun with it, right? Where it's like that. It just makes sense. Like I can vibe with that. Where it's like I'm not gonna read like a Vitalik blog post. I won't be able to understand it, and it's gonna be very long, and it's not something I'm gonna relate to, right? So,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, no, and shout out to Tully and Raj and all the people going through that because yeah, it's been it has definitely not just been an
oh
uphill
no,
only. It has been a roller coaster. So yeah, it's so cool though, and yeah, it's always lighthearted, it's always fun, and like I think the coolest part about Solana is I always tell people like you can be connected to all the people in the world so quick. Like if you're like a big, let's say you're a big project wanting to come into Solana and, drop this or whatever you're gonna do in here, you can get access to like all the people. You can get Helios for the RPCs, you can get Solana Foundation, you can connect it to Jito, you can connect it to like all these top tier people on the Solana Foundation within like a couple days, and they'll help you out.
yeah,
Like it was like even going back to like the WEN launch, it was so fun to watch like all of the people, whether that be like Mert, Austin Federa, Toli, Meow, myself, and there's a bunch of devs just all in a group chat, like all the main people in Solana coming together and be like, "Okay, guys, let's make sure this runs well, right?" And then everybody's monitoring it,
so
and
awesome.
it's just fun to kind of see that because I feel like any other ecosystem or chain, you're not gonna get Vitalik in a group chat, or you're not gonna get like
Yeah,
all these big like Ethereum Foundation people helping you launch this protocol. Maybe, right? But I do feel like Solana kind of has an edge there.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's not to say that like we wouldn't be here without Ethereum, right? Like Ethereum did a lot, but
Yeah.
um, but yeah, no, I mean, it's great. It's great. I love it. It's like there's always something new, and like the space moves super fast. Like tech moves really fast. Startups start really fast, and then there's like Solana startups that go like turbo fast. So it's like fun to just kind of keep up, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's something new every single day. Like you can't wake up for somebody who is like, let's say you're even like just like part-time participating in crypto. If you're full-time like crypto, like you like cannot tell me you're not entertained
Oh
by
yeah,
what goes on. Like it is so entertaining. Like and maybe it's not entertaining because you're watching your portfolio dip down, right? Or you're watching some of your net worth kind of decline. But at the same time, like it's just like such an opportunistic industry to be in. So I love it. I have like zero. I haven't even thought about like what else I would ever do outside of crypto. Like I want to just keep doing exciting things, and kind of like building things like to the best ability, and see where this whole industry goes. Just like
Yeah.
it's kind of just, in my opinion, it would just be so hard to like let that go. Kind of like missing out on a meme coin go all the way. You'd be like, it would hurt so much to watch crypto prevail if I gave up.
Yeah, yeah. The price doesn't reflect this, but like where I feel like we are in the space is like it's like everything just seems like it's about to explode, right? Like we're getting like lighter regulations. Like Trump launched a meme coin on Solana. Like there's like a crypto czar who like has investments in Solana. Like it just seems like the price has gone down about 50% from the height. So, it's a weird time to say that it feels like we're about to explode, but like
Yeah.
maybe not like price wise, but like I feel like the reach and like the use cases and like the teams that are building are no longer going to have like this like regulatory like burden that they have to deal with as much. So I just feel like there is like a a ton of like really cool protocols, really cool things going on Solana, and like they're just getting started.
Yeah. There couldn't be like a bigger like breakthrough like going through right now. Like everything is, like you said, everything is easing up. Everything is opening the door for it to just be this mass adopted thing.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like it should be even further adopted, right? Like it almost seems like there's been so much stuff going on, like it should almost be even further along.
Yeah.
But it takes time, right? And everything moves so fast in crypto land that it needs to, move slower to normal people or the normal institutions and things like that. So
Yeah.
I think also like all of our timelines are like so accelerated from being exposed to crypto.
Yeah.
But yeah, it literally seems like there couldn't be a better standing for crypto, like how it's progressed going forward. Like this is what people like, things that happened even going back before even the recent like 6 months craziness has happened. Like it's crazy that we even got a Bitcoin ETF like that,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
even the Solana ETF, right? Like so crazy. Like things just happen so fast, and things just continue to happen so quick that people like downplay it, right? Like if you were to tell someone 2 years ago in the mid the FTS crash like that they're filing Solana ETFs, people would be like, what? Like they
Yeah.
wouldn't know what to say. They'd be like, are you kidding me? Like that's insane. So yeah, no, I think it's always a thing of like having to zoom out on the perspective of things and
Yeah.
just like enjoy how it's all going, and then see where it
Yeah.
goes from there.
Yeah, well, it's like filing Solana ETFs, like the governing bodies are fully acknowledging them, and like people in the industry are giving it like really high probabilities of passing within this year. So it's like if you were to tell me that 6 months ago, I'd be like, no, that's insane.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
I'd be like, all right, I like that. Like let's keep talking about that, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. But yeah,
No, it just like more and more reasons to just be excited about like what's going on, especially in Solana.
yeah,
That's why I feel like if like you haven't like experimented in Solana, you might as well like just like try it out, see what you're gonna like, and if you're coming from another chain, I guarantee you're probably gonna love it. Like I don't know
yeah.
anybody that has came to Solana and been like, yeah, the UX isn't that great, or like chain kind of sucks. Like it's great, right? Like it's why everyone comes here.
Yeah, like what came to my mind when you said that was like the Pudgy Penguins launching their token on Solana, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest NFT projects on ETH decided to launch their
Yeah.
coin on Solana, and I mean, you listen to Luca, right? You listen to
Yeah.
him talk, and he loves Solana, right?
Mhm.
Like the way that he was like greeted and how everything went, like he loves it.
Yeah.
It's like it sounded like that was like the best advertisement I'd ever seen for Solana. Was like,
Yeah.
we're gonna launch on Solana. I got to talk to all the top people, and it was a great experience.
Yeah. No, it's the place. I think that's even like with like the doodles. I don't know if you saw that, but
Oh
the
yeah,
doodle are now coming and again do it on Solana, right? Like in my opinion, like it's where you should want to launch your token, right? It's where all the community is. It's where
yeah,
all the chatter is. It's like that's where we're gonna think. I think if Pudgy were to launch on another chain, like it wouldn't hit the same, right?
yeah,
It wouldn't be the same thing, right? And like I think people always forget too, like claiming these tokens virtually for free, right? Not
Yeah.
paying like it. I feel like I'm just hyping up Solana so hard, but like it's like
It's a
it,
Solana weekly podcast. It's completely acceptable.
yeah, okay, good. Because yeah, it's the place to be. Which I think that's why it just contributes to why the community has grown so much, right? Like people all are on the same mission of like this is the chain. Like there's really nothing around it. So yeah, it's the place to be. I don't think there's any real debate around it right now. But we'll see, right? There's always all the things like Aptos, Say, Sui, and Mana and stuff that are coming up. So we don't know, right? But
Yeah.
it does seem like it's the place to be.
Yeah. I have a question if you don't mind me. Keep going.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Pudgy launched their coin on Solana. Like, if you were to launch a coin now, or if you were advising somebody that was going to ask you like, hey, like, what would you do today, like differently than when actually launched? Like, is there anything that you would do different in today's landscape, or is it still kind of similar?
That's really interesting. That's a really interesting question. I do really enjoy the way that like the when airdrop happened, where it
Yeah.
was kind of like a little bit like under the radar and like kind of a little bit like just fun,
Yeah.
and airdropped to everybody. But man, I don't know. Trying to think what else. I probably honestly would have made it even bigger. Like instead
Really?
of like a million, I would have like included even more NFT communities, or even maybe like included even like Ethereum people in it, right? Or like branching even outside of Solana to get even more people involved in it, right? I think that could have been really fun to make it even bigger. But I do just love the idea that like WEN is like still like the fairest airdrop
Oh yeah.
ever on Solana. I still love that idea around there. So I think honestly would have just made it so much like bigger and like so much even further distributed out to people. Because I think that's a really cool thing that Pudgy did. Like they really brought a lot of Ethereum people to Solana,
Yeah,
right?
they
So
did.
imagine we could have done the same thing, right? Like took a lot of ETH people who are like, oh, like what is this airdrop, and then have to use a Phantom wallet, they have to claim it, and then they go from there and do that. So that's honestly, I feel like what I would have done. And Pudgy did a huge airdrop too, right? And they
They
did
did.
everything. Like, they rewarded OG Soul people. They rewarded all their different NFT holders, a bunch of different things, which I think is a really cool way to do it, because then you get so many people talking about it. I mean, if you're single-handedly going out there and clicking claim on this thing, like you are going to be talking about it, like you're
Oh
thinking
yeah.
about it, not. So it's a really good way to activate a lot of people, other than people just like sitting on the sideline just watching the timeline talk about it. It's kind of fun to be involved within it. So I think still airdropping is such a great method to get it to everybody
Yeah.
and go out that. So yeah, that's probably what I would have done.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, Pudgy was big. I wonder if they, I don't know the numbers, but I wonder if they airdropped to, or they didn't airdrop, they did a claim. But I wonder
Yeah.
if their distribution was actually more than you guys, because
I
you
don't,
guys,
I don't, I'm not sure actually, like how many wallets that they actually ended up
or ended up claiming
doing.
it. I know that the original, like who was eligible for it was a incredible amount of people,
I'm
right?
sure.
Like I don't know who actually claimed it, right?
I don't know off the top of my mind, but I know it was huge. Like
Yeah.
that site was getting tested too. I
Oh
remember
yeah.
I was claiming it. That was tough. But way better than I've seen in some previous things. So like
Yeah.
I've watched some
It
terrible.
worked. It worked. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But no, yeah, the Pudgy thing is really, really massive. That's why, yeah, like Pudgy, Bonk, and things like WEN, like that's where I feel like people should focus their energy, right? Like on like actual quality things,
Yeah.
and like these huge airdrops that are like giving back. Like Pudgy just gave a bunch of money to free people, like or to people for free. Like
Yeah.
you were just a sole user, and all of a sudden you get rewarded with $100, $200, whatever, you know. Like that's just a win. That's
It
just
was it
a
was awesome. Like it was like Christmas break. I was at like my in-laws' house, and like I was talking about Pudgy Penguins to anybody that would listen. I was stoked, and I don't own a Pudgy
yeah.
Penguin or anything. Then it was amazing.
What I love to do is I love describing getting airdrops for people. Like basically as like imagine like you're like using Instagram or something like that, and then all of a sudden Instagram sends you like a huge airdrop, right? Or you're
Yeah.
just using like your favorite, like you're just using iMessage, and then iMessage sends you like an airdrop, right? Like people can't even comprehend that you just like use a protocol, or something like Jupiter You just
Yeah,
use it because you use it. Like you're not even trying to farm it, and all of a sudden you get rewarded money for it. Like some
it's
people can't
unreal.
understand that. And
Yeah, it's hard
it's
to even believe that that happened to us for that long. Like with me, it's like I love using the latest protocols just to see like what they're building out and what they're doing, and it's like actually you get paid pretty well to do that in crypto if you're early to platforms and you're using them, and I
Mhm.
mean unexpectedly, but it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think we should bring back airdrop season again.
Yeah,
Uh,
me too.
I, I think everybody loved. There was a period there where it was like, okay, I have like 4 airdrops lined up here that I like know I'm gonna make like a good amount on.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's definitely a fun period to have come back in. So maybe that we need to have NFT season come back, airdrop season come back, and then we just need to watch everything go back to all time highs.
yeah,
Further.
I'm
Be
here
set.
for it. I'm absolutely here for it.
Be
Cool. So,
set.
so what else do you guys have coming up with When? I know you said you're going to be kind of focused on IP and branding. Is that going to be kind of what you guys are going to be doing the next time? You have anything else coming up?
Yeah. So yeah, the real next big thing for WEN is just really getting all of the foundations set for completely pivoting towards making WEN just a full IP and brand play,
Hmm.
which we've been kind of doing in the background over the past few months. And kind of like what I was mentioned earlier too, like the next big step is like really trajecting this towards everybody in the mainstream and the crypto side of things. So like we're working with this agency now, like flying out there like the early March, and really the goal is to just like take this from a stole meme coin to the big brand play. So I think that's our really big focus. Like instead of us like trying to like match a lot of other soul meme coins or just like continue with that same old path. We want to like really bring in something fresh and have it be lovable by like everybody. Like even if you don't like own crypto or you're not involved in crypto, have this be something that everybody can sort of get into and have this be something that like every single cat lover in the world can appreciate. So that's a lot of the really fun things. Like I think a lot of coins really struggle because like their whole thing is just based around like price action, and then lately like when price action is just down, they have nothingness, right? They're
Yeah.
just like okay, and they have nothingness, right? And also like a lot of coins, right, have no treasury, right? They have like no funding, and with something like WEN, like we have funding for years and years and years to go right from the launch. It really helped fuel that treasury forward, right? Same thing with like Bonk, right? That's why I think like a lot of these coins are going to progress right towards like coins like Bonk that can be around forever, coins like WEN that can be around forever, versus a lot of things that are just kind of like built up on like whether that be like a few whales or like market makers or whatever. So yeah, overall, really just want to take WEN and make it into like a real brand and make it into something really legit, right? Whether that be building out the entire WEN world with a game, right? Having proper IP licenses and really scaling this to be something really big. And then I would love for that effect to just obviously transfer all the way back to the coin, and everyone's like, this is a really big thing, right? This is huge. This is obviously going to explode, right, in the crypto term. So that's kind of where that's kind of feel like where everything is going now is like really just making this really big brand play for WEN, and really differentiating ourselves from like any other like real brands in the real world for that too.
That's awesome. I love that. I mean, it's like you guys are focusing on what makes you unique, right? And
Yeah.
that's something that is, you guys can do, independent of whatever's going on in the market, the crypto market. It's like you guys can focus on your brand, building that out, attracting people that aren't necessarily in crypto, aligning more with people that are in crypto. It sounds great. I mean, that sounds like you're positioned well, right?
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready for it all too. Because I feel like with WEN, it's been like an ever growing thing, right? Starting with just like myself and Meow, and now growing like a legit whole team behind it over the past however long. it's really fun to watch things progress, and that's why I'm just so excited. Like, I feel like this next year is going to be huge for WEN in general, with everything going on, regardless of even market conditions. Just going to be really awesome to watch that all grow over the next few years. Just going to be an exciting time in general.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's like the attention, right? Like the tokenized attention is like what these memes were, but it's tough to keep the attention when all you're talking about is price on a coin or something like that, right? Where it's like you have to find the what it is that you guys want to do, what it is that you can do, and I feel like you have. So
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's why I feel like a lot of people like really struggle to like find like that North Star and try and like really give like the reason why. And I feel like now like we've nailed it and are gonna like continue to refine that over the next few months. And I'm excited to like display that to people now. Because like I said, we haven't really even talked about it much. It's been like very low key under the radar. So it's going to be really exciting to show that to people and really sort of just like stuff that in front of their face with everything going on. So yeah, should be a really good time. I can't wait. I love also just building in front of people. It's just so fun to see everybody's reactions, right? It's sometimes extremely positive, can be negative, whatever, but like it's just really cool to be able to get that immediate feedback and then also just be able to like instantly display things to a crowd where they can just be amazed by it or give their immediate feedback.
yeah, it sure is. That sounds great, man. Well, I'm all excited. I'm excited to see what you guys do. I think that you guys have built out, way more than just a coin, and I think it's awesome to hear. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on the show. Any last words for the listeners that they need to know?
Yeah, no, and seriously appreciate letting me on here and letting me chat. I could talk about this stuff all day long.
Oh, me too.
No, other than that, just look out for like the next few months for everything with WEN as everything sort of transitions through this next phase of things. It's going to be just exciting to watch everybody in the timeline talk about it and just interact with it. So just look out for the next few months. It should be an exciting time.
Sounds good. Well, I definitely will. And thanks again for coming on.
Awesome. Yeah. Appreciate it, Thomas.
All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Solana Weekly. Once again, this is Thomas Bahamas, and I have one final ask for you guys. If you could, please subscribe on whatever player you're listening to. You could leave a review. That would be amazing. If you want to shill me your bags. Work for them. But yeah, really appreciate it. And as always, this is not financial advice, but I want you guys to accelerate, move forward, and let's get this bag. I'll catch you guys next week.